For today's video, we're going to be creating this global emissions dashboard in Excel. I already have my dataset open. I can go ahead and do that. So when you download this dataset, link is going to be in the description box below. When you download this dataset, it's going to be in the CSV format. I'll just encourage you to save a copy as an Excel workbook format. So this is what the dataset looks like. We're just going to leave it as it is. We'll just format things as we go. But we're going to start with creating a table. So I'm just going to hold Control and Shift, and I'm going to use my right arrow key and then my down arrow key. So I will select the entire items in our data set. Next, go over to Insert here and then go to Table, and we can insert a table. Make sure that my table has headers is selected, and we're just going to click on OK. And now we've created a table with entire data set. Now we can begin creating our visuals, our pivot table, and then our charts. So let's go ahead and create a new worksheet. So I'm going to create a new sheet, and this is going to be emissions by region, like that. What we're going to do next is create a pivot table. So select any cell on your charts. I like using this B2 cell. There's no reason, I just like it just a little bit from the top and a little from the side. So select any cell, then we're going to go to Insert and we're going to select pivot table. So I'm just going to do this for only this particular pivot table. For henceforth, we're just going to reference the table name. So I'm just going to select the range for this time. So while this dialog is open, I'm just going to go back to our data set, and I'm going to scroll to the top and select this first column, Control Shift right arrow and then down, and I've selected the entire data set, similar to what we did when we're creating the table. And you see that the name of this table is table 1, which is typically how it goes. The first table you make is we name table 1, second with table 2, but for henceforth we're going to be referencing table 1. So I'm going to click on OK, and then we have our pivot table. So let's now bring in our values. So let's start with although we're looking at region, we are also going to separate by type. So what I'm going to do is, let's bring type to or let's start with region on row. So we have these are regions, Asia Pacific, so on and so forth. So we're just going to leave it as it is. Next, we're going to now grab emissions, and we're going to add emissions in values. Now I want to separate this so as it won't just be a single bar chart. We want to also have it separated by type. So what we're going to do is grab type, and we're going to add type to columns, and this is what your data set should look like. So I'm going to come over here to grand total, right click, and we are going to remove grand total. On this axis as well, we're going to right click grand total, and we're going to remove grand total. So let's also order our emissions from highest to lowest. So on this row labels here, select this drop down, and then we're going to select more sort options, and here we're going to select descending Z to A, and then select this drop down, and it's going to be sum of emissions, and we're going to click on OK. And now we have our emissions ordered from highest to lowest. Now select your pivot table, go to Insert, and we're going to insert a stacked column chart. Go ahead and click that, and we've created our chart. So now let's format this chart. Let's start with this button. So right click on any of these buttons and hide all field buttons on charts. Come over here, and then we're going to turn on the chart title. Select the title. Let's type in our title, which is emissions by region, and I'm just going to select the chart area, and we're going to change the color of this to white. Now right click on anywhere of the chart area, and we're going to select format charts area. So for the fill, let's go to color. We're going to select more colors, go to custom, and we're going to use this color, which is 222631, and I'll just give you a moment to look at it. Now click on OK. I'm going to minimize this, go to border, and for the color of the border, we're going to use the same, it's calling blue gray, so we're going to use the same blue gray color. Click on that, and we're going to have rounded corners. Let's come to, or you could just select the entire chart area to make it easy, and just change all text on this particular chart to white. Makes it easier. You can select these lines and just delete, and that's gone. Now we can change the colors of this series. Click on the legend and then select width. So you select the entire legend and then click again, so you're selecting width. So we'll go to fill, go to colors, more colors, and we're going to change this to 9546 EF. So that's the color. Click on OK. Next, we're going to move on to other, more colors, so that's the code for order, which is FB3364, and we're just going to save that. Next up is energy, same thing, go to more colors, and it's going to be 455 CDC. And then finally we have agriculture. I'm going to go to more colors, and that will be FF852F. And yeah, that's what this is what our chart will look like. So this is the emissions by region chart. Let's now move on to the next chart, which is the emissions by country. So we're going to create a new chart, and we'll just be like, let's say countries by emission, and we're going to close that. Select any cell, and we can go ahead and insert a pivot table, and I'm going to reference table 1. I'm just going to create that. Now we're going to have, let's start with country in rows, and we're going to have emissions in values, and we're going to, let's have let's separate by type also for this one. So I'm going to have type in columns. So let's come over to this, select this drop down, and we're going to go to more sort options, select descending, and select sum of emissions, and I'm going to click on OK. Next, let's once again select this drop down once more, then go to value filters, and we'll select the top 10, and this is going to be top 10 items by sum of emissions. We're just going to leave it like that, and we're just going to click on OK. So what we're going to do is select the grand total, right click, and we are going to just remove grand total. Same with this axis, right click, remove grand total. Select anywhere on your pivot table, and you can go to insert, and we'll use a stacked column chart, which is this one. Let me bring it over to this side so we can format it. Let's start with the title. So I'm going to come over here, and we're going to add a chart title. So for the title, I'm just going to select this, and this is the top 10 countries by emission. I'm going to close this, right click, hide all fill buttons on charts. I'm going to do that. So while we have this chart area selected, go to fill, and then change it to that blue gray color, which is that. Minimize this, go to border, change the color of the border to the same color, and then turn on rounded corners. Go to home and then change the font color to white. Select these grid lines and just delete. Now let's change the color of this segment. Let's start with waist. So double click so you can select waist. Go to fill and we're going to select this. We're going to use this lavender color. Go to order, change the color to this one. What does it say? Red. Change it to this one. Energy is going to be this color, blue. And then finally we have agriculture, and we're going to change it to this orange color. Yeah, that's it for the top 10 countries by emission chart. Let's now move on to the next chart, which is going to be emissions by year. So we'll create a new chart, and this is going to be emissions by year. Select any cell and go to insert pivot table, and we're going to reference our table, which is table 1. Okay, so let's start with, we're going to get base here, and we're going to add that to rows. We're going to get the emissions, add that to values, and we're going to separate it by region. So I'm just going to grab region and add region to columns. Let me close this. So I'm going to select this, and we are going to right click and remove grand total. Let me close this as well. Also right click here, remove grand total. Select anywhere on your pivot table and go to insert charts, and we're going to use a clustered column chart this time. Okay, let me move it to the side so that we can format this while also seeing our pivot table. So let's start with, let's see the field buttons. Right click, hide all field buttons on charts. Come over to this icon here, and we're going to turn on our chart title. So this chart is emissions by year. And I'm just going to close that. Right click on any part of the charts, and we'll go to format chart area. Let's start with the fill of our chart. Select the fill, and we're going to use the blue gray color. Before we move on, let's change the color of our text. Go to home, and just while selected on the entire chart area, just change the text for the whole thing to white. Let's select these grid lines, and we're going to delete it. Now let's go, let's come back here on border, change the color of the border to the same blue gray color, and then change the colors, the corners of this, turn on rounded corners for chart. Next, let's change the colors for all these countries, all these regions rather. So let's start with Africa. I'm going to select Africa, and we're going to go to color, and I'm going to open this. We're going to select more colors, and I'm going to type in, this is 4cc9f0 for that one. Next is Asia Pacific. Going to go to more colors, and the color is going to be 4895EF. 4895EF. Next is Central and South America. Go to more colors, and this is going to be A1A9C0. Oh, sorry, it is A1, A9, C0. Next is Europe, more colors. This is going to be FB3364. Next up is the Middle East. Going to change the color to 9546EF. Next is North America, more colors. This is going to be FF852F. Other is going to be 0F89EF. And next, the Russia and Caspian is going to be 43D2E7. And finally, for world, we're going to have (455) CDC. And yeah, we'll finish formatting the emissions by year, and this is the distribution. Typically for when you're dealing with a time series like year or date, we use line charts, but this dataset is quite unique that it's just 2022 and then a range of 2019 to 2021. So that's why we're using something like this, but typically it will be more interesting to use a line chart so you can see how things have changed. But yeah, that's it for this chart. Let's now move on to the next chart, which will be emissions by segment. So I'm just going to close this. Let's create a new sheet, and I'm just going to make this emissions by segments. Select any cell, and once again insert pivot table, and we're going to reference table 1. Let's start with, even though we're looking at segments, we also still want to separate by region. So I'm going to bring region here. We're going to bring emissions to values, and segment is going to be in columns, just like this. And I'm going to select this, and what I'm going to do is just remove the grand total. So right click, remove grand total. Let's come to the right click also, and we're going to remove grand total. Let's come over here, select this drop down, and we're going to select more sort options. Select descending Z to A, and we're going to change region to sum of emissions, and then click on OK. Now select anywhere on your pivot table, and then go to insert, and we are going to use a stacked column chart. And I'm going to select this. Now we won't be able to see everything at the same time, but it's more like we just want to see distribution basically. I'm going to close this, and I like having my charts way over to the side of our pivot table. You can place your chart wherever you want. So just going to move it here. Now let's format our chart area. Let's start with this. So right click on any of these buttons, right click, and then select hide all field buttons on chart. Now let's turn on the chart title, and we're going to change this to emissions by segment. Next, right click on anywhere on the chart, and we're going to format chart area. Change the color of the chart to that blue-gray color we've been using for our charts, And for the border, under border, change the color to this dark gray color, and we're going to turn on rounded corners. Come over to home and change the, just while the entire chart area is selected, just change the color of all text to white. Select the grid lines and then delete it. I'm just going to extend the height of this chart so that we can see our entire legend. So I'm just going to increase the height of this like this, and let's maybe even extend it to this side like this. So now let's change the colors of each of our series. Let's start with total. I'm going to select total, come to color, more colors, and the code for this is going to be 455 CDC. Next is theme cool, more colors, and this is going to be 9546EF. Oops, supposed to be 9546EF. Next is satellite detected. Just going to change this to FB3364, and this is order from oil and gas. Change the color. This is going to be FF852F. Okay, order from coal. We're going to change the color to 0F89A. No, that's the wrong one. This is order from coal, so this is going to be 0F7EC. Then we have onshore oil. Once again, more colors, and this is going to be 0F89AF, and I'm going to close that. We have onshore gas, more colors. Going to clear this, and this is going to be 480CA8. And offshore oil, we're going to change this to 43D2A7. For offshore gas, we're going to change it to 3737C9. For gas pipeline and LNG facilities, going to more colors, and this is going to be A1A9C0. Cooking coal, this is going to be 4895EF. And then finally we have bioenergy, which is going to be 4CC9F0, like that. So with that, we are done with the emissions by segment charts. You can increase it if you want, but yeah, that's the breakdown for this particular one. For our final chart, it's going to be the distribution of different emissions by segment. So I'm just going to create a new sheet, and this will be emissions distribution. So select anywhere, any cell, go to insert, pivot table, and we're going to reference table 1. So we're going to have segments, and we are also going to have emissions in values. Let's come over here and we're going to remove grand total. Go to insert, and we are going to select a donut chart. I'm going to bring this here. So we're going to start with this button, so we're just going to hide that button, and we're going to double click the title, and I'm going to change this to emissions distribution, like this. Next, let's while this dialog is open, select the entire chart area, and for the fill we're going to use the same background color, which is 222631. It's exactly the same color we've been using. And for border, we're going to change the color to the same color, and we're going to turn on rounded corners. While the entire chart area is selected, go to home and change the text color to white. Now select this donut, and you're going to do two things. First, for border, we'll select no line, and then come over here to series options, and we're going to change the donut size to 50%. Let me increase the width and height of these charts just a little bit. So what I'm just going to do, I want to increase this size of this legend, so I will have all our legends showing up. The final one should be, let me just increase this, so the final one should be total, and then we have all of this. So we can now go one by one and change their color. So I'm just going to right click, and I'm going to format chart area. We can start with bioenergy. Now we'll go to color, more colors, and we're going to change this one to 4cc9f0. Next is going to be cooking coal. Going to change this to A1A9C0. I'm going to click on OK. Next is going to be this one. I'm going to go to more colors, and this is going to be 4361EE. Next up is going to be offshore gas, and going to go to more colors, this is going to be 3F37C9. Next up is offshore oil. Go to more colors, and we're going to change this to FF852F. Next is going to be onshore gas, more colors, and this is going to be FB3364. Let me see, it's like I made typo here. So this is onshore gas. This is going to be FB3364. Okay, then we have onshore oil. Going to change this to 0F89AF. Next is this one, order from coal, and I'm going to change this to 0F 57 AC. Then we have order from oil and gas. Going to go to more colors. It's going to be D2 C1 FE, and we're going to have satellite detected. Going to change the color. This is going to be 43 D2 E7, and we're going to go to steam cool, and this is going to be 9546 EF. And then finally for total, we're going to change this to 455 CDC, like this. And we are done with this chart. We can now move on to create our dashboard. What I like to do when I create my dashboard is I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to create a new sheet, and I'm going to bring it in front, so that whenever you open the document, it's always going to be the dashboard you see first. So I'm just going to rename this dashboard, and let's go to insert, go to illustrations, shapes, and we're going to start with a rectangle, and we're just going to randomly draw one here for now. Go to shape fill. We're going to change the fill to this color, which is just going to be 101010, and I'm going to click on OK. And then for shape outline, it's going to be no outline. For the dimensions of this shape, height is going to be 20 cm, and the width is going to be 40 cm. I'm just going to move it here. Let's reduce the zoom of this to 70%. Next, let's insert another shape. So I'm just going to go to insert, illustrations, shapes, and this time we're going to use a rounded corners rectangle, and I'm just going to draw it around here. For the fill of this rectangle, we're going to use our background color for our chart, so that's going to be 222631, and I'm going to go to outline, and it's going to be no outline. The height is going to be 2 cm, and the width is going to be 39.5, like this. For the rounded corners, we can just leave it as it is. Let's now go to text. So right here, we're currently in shape format, or you could go to insert, see the same thing. I'm going to go to illustrations, shapes, and I'm going to select a text, and this is going to be global emissions dashboard. So I'm going to select the entire text box. We're going to change the size of this text to 40. Let me just increase it so that we have all our text. Change the alignment to middle and then to center. Let me increase the height of this also. Now go to shape format, shape fill. We're going to select no fill, and for shape outline, we're going to select no outline. And I forgot to change the color of the text. We're just going to change the color of the text to white. So what I'm going to do is select this, as well as I'm going to select all the items we currently have in our dashboard. Go to shape format, align center, like this. Now select this rectangle, the one behind the text, and then the text. Go to shape format, align middle. And yeah, this is what the title of our dashboard looks like. Now we can just go ahead and bring in our charts. Now I'm just going to go to emissions by region, copy this, go back to the chart board, the dashboard, and I'm just going to paste it here. Let's go to countries by emissions, copy, and I'm going to paste it here also. Then move it here. Next is going to be emissions by year. I'm going to paste it. Let's go to the next one, which is emissions by segments. Copy that. And I'm going to paste. Bring it down, and let's go for the final one, which is going to be emissions by distribution. And I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to bring it down here. Let's start with this top row. Let's change the dimensions of these three charts. So I'm going to select all three, go to shape format. We're going to change the height to 7.45, and for the width we're going to make it 13. And let me just align middle. While we're here, I'm just going to move them here and just kind of guesstimate, just give it ample space between, you know, this and this. So I'm going to select this two, and I'm going to go to shape format, align, and we're going to align to the right like this. Same with this one. I'm going to select this chart and this rectangle, go to shape format, align, and we're going to align left. Now select these three charts once again, go to shape format, align, distribute horizontally, and that's it for that row. So we can now just align this larger two charts. Now we're just going to, let's start with this one. So we'll go to format, we'll change the height to 9.45, and the width is going to be 21.25 like this. And I'm just going to move this. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, so I'll just keep this a little bit in to the right so that I'll align it to this one here. So I'll select this two, and I'll go to shape format, align, and we're going to align left. Now let's change the dimensions for this one. Go to format, height is going to be 9.45, and the width is going to be 18 like this. And once again, I'm going to bring it in a bit so I can align it to the right. Select this chart, this one, shape format, align, and we're going to align right. Now let's figure out spacing for the entire thing. Let's start with these two and just align them, make sure they align properly. So we're going to align middle like that. So what I'm going to do now, we have a lot more space at the bottom than we do at the top. Or let me just, I'm going to, so the space at the bottom is more than what we have in the top. So I'm going to just select everything, and then I'm going to deselect. So I selected everything and just clicked on hold control and then selected the background, so I can just deselect that, and I'll just use my down key to move everything just slightly. Now I'll just select the charts and I'll just move it a bit, and I'll select this bottom two and I'll just move them down like this, and the spacing looks fine. If you want to be really specific, you can distribute them. So select these three items, distribute it evenly, but anyway, I'm just going to leave it like that. But yeah, this is what our dashboard looks like. Let me zoom out a bit so that, you know, maybe I can even zoom in more so we can see the entire dashboard as it is. But this is the global emissions dashboard. If you want to add other elements, you can do that. If you want to add slicers, you can also do that. But yeah, this is what our dashboard looks like, and we've come to the end of this tutorial. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.